Hey everybody, it's Ricky Heller from rickyheller.com. I'm an author, book coach, and editor, and I help you write your book so you can finally get it done and get your message out into the world. So, this series I've been talking about basically how to put the book together. And I'm working on right now, we're talking about structure. What are the ways to structure the book? And last time I talked about your thesis or your main message. Today, I want to talk about the actual structure or organization of the book. Like, how do you know how to order your points and what order to put them in? Because that's obviously such an important aspect of the book. I mean, if you think about I love to give the example of GPS, where you might have like a series of instructions and you're supposed to follow a particular order to get where you want to go. Well, if you follow a different order, if you turn left first instead of right, and then you turn right instead of left, you're going to end up in a completely different place, right? So, order is important. If you think of, like, I used to be a professional baker, if you think of following a recipe, and let's say you follow a different order, well, when it comes to baking, if you put your cream in before you put your butter in, and then you put your flour in instead of your cocoa, which was supposed to go at the beginning, whatever it may be, rather than end up with a delicious, moist, yummy brownie, you're going to end up with a big pile of glue. So it's the same with your book. If your points are not being presented to the reader in the most effective sequence or order, you're going to end up with a completely different experience for that reader. That reader may or may not react to your book, respond to your book in the way that you were hoping, and that main message may or may not come across. So that's what you need to think about. What are your key points when you think about your thesis? What are the key points that you're going to use to present that thesis? And that's kind of how you might look at creating chapter topics. But once you have those, what's the order you're going to present them in? And there are many different ways to determine the order. There are different sort of templates that you can use. One of the most obvious ones is chronological. So depending on your topic, you would just present the points in the order in which they happened. And so if you think about an autobiography or a biography of somebody where they're telling their life story, they would just start at the beginning. I was born, and then follow through. This is what happened when I was a kid. This is what happened when I was a teenager. This is what happened when I was a young adult, blah, 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 to the point at the present, if it's an autobiography, or to the point where their life ended, if it's a biography. However, if you think of things like memoir, where I'm talking about something specific, a particular period in my life, you may or you may not want to follow a chronological order because it might not be the most effective depending on what that memoir is focusing on. So if somebody is talking about Marion Roach Smith, who wrote about her mother's Alzheimer's disease, she may or may not tell you what happened first, second, third, because there's a certain sense of wanting to build suspense or to a reveal of some particular point. So that's something to really think about. Even if you decide on chronological, it's not always best to go exactly point by point by point. You might want to mix up the chronology a little bit. And things like movies and lots of novels do this all the time. Like you might have a novel where there are two storylines that are parallel, and one is, let's say it's a set of twins. I'm making this up. Let's say it's a set of twins. One starts in the present and has the twin remembering what happened until they were a child, and one starts in the childhood and goes forward until they're an adult. There's that movie, I think it's called Memento, which came out quite some time ago now, but that movie goes in reverse. It starts at the present. It's about a guy who lost his long-term memory, I believe. So he only has like maybe like a 5-minute memory. And the movie starts in the present moment. He doesn't know what's going on or why he is where he is. And it moves backwards to the point where I think he lost his memory. So, or what happened and that memory. And that's really effective in that particular case. So you want to either do some research around what's the best way to organize chronologically or not, and how you fit things in. There are other methods too. And again, it depends on your topic area. So you want to either do your own research on that or work with a coach who can help you, somebody who knows the different benefits of the different ways of organizing your material. Just as an example, something like a comparison and contrast might be a really good way to organize your particular material because you're looking at two things that are similar in some ways but different in other ways. And then you want to show your reader why yours is maybe superior to the one you're comparing it to. So that's something to really consider. And I would say that is probably one of the first three steps in your book. You want to think of your theme. You definitely want to think of your main points. You want to think of your organization. And once you have that general structure, you're going to have basically the equivalent of your table of contents. And that is going to be your roadmap for writing. There's one other major factor you need to consider before you even start to write, and that is your audience. And so I'm going to talk about that next time. I hope this was helpful. Please come back and learn a little bit about audience. If you have any questions at all, leave them in the comments. And if you would like to delve further into how we can write your book together, just go to the link in my show notes for a free clarity call or email me anytime at ricky@rickyheller.com. You can also get to that clarity call through my website, rickyheller.com. And I hope to hear from you and learn about your book because I'm always interested to know what people are writing about. All right, everybody. Hope that was useful. Have a great week, and I will see you next time.